Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the powerful and, let's be honest, often misunderstood world of dark seduction and persuasion tactics, based on the book by Emory Green. We're going to break down the psychology behind what makes someone or something just so irresistible.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that pull, that magnetic force drawing you to someone that you just can't quite explain? You can't put your finger on it. Is that just random chemistry, or could there be a very deliberate, very calculated strategy at play?
To really get to the bottom of this, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. We'll start with the raw power of seduction itself, then we'll open up the seducer's playbook. After that, we'll look at the core psychological traits involved, explore the different types of seducers, and finally, lay out the entire game plan from start to finish.
All right, first things first, we need to redefine what we're even talking about here. Because according to the book, seduction isn't just for the romance novels. No, it's a fundamental force of influence that you see absolutely everywhere. From a politician captivating a crowd to that ad that just makes you have to buy something.
You know, the word itself actually tells a big part of the story. The book traces it all the way back to its Latin root, seducere, which means to lead astray. And that is so key. It immediately pulls it out of the world of just romance and shows us what it's really about. It's a form of influence, designed to guide someone away from their own thoughts and towards yours.
So how is this different from just persuading someone or flat out manipulating them? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Think of it like this. Persuasion is open, it's honest, it uses logic. All the cards are on the table. Manipulation, on the other hand, is deceitful. It hides things to win. But seduction? Seduction lives in that fuzzy, gray area right in between. It plays on emotions, but it keeps its true motives just a little bit hidden. It's not as forceful as manipulation, but it's definitely not as transparent as persuasion.
Okay, so if seduction is all about leading, how is it actually done? Let's open up the playbook. This is where we get into the nuts and bolts, the common traits and frameworks that master influencers use. And trust me, this is not about random charm. It's a very consistent, very practiced set of behaviors.
So what does it take to be a seducer? Well, it's not some kind of innate magic you're born with. It's actually a set of skills you can practice. Things like projecting this unshakable confidence, creating a little bit of mystery around yourself, and, this one's a big one, making your target feel like they are the most important person in the entire world. It's a carefully crafted performance, right down to the tone of your voice.
Now, we have to talk about what's going on behind the curtain. Because behind all that charm, there can be a very specific psychological profile at work. And this brings us to a really fascinating concept in psychology known as the Dark Triad.
The book points to these 3 traits as a kind of toxic cocktail for influence. First, you've got narcissism, which brings that rock-solid self-belief and sense of importance. Then you mix in Machiavellianism. That's the strategic, manipulative, the ends justify the means thinking. And finally, you add a dash of psychopathy, which provides the superficial charm and, crucially, a lack of empathy, allowing them to pursue their goal without any guilt. You put those 3 together, and you get a very potent and very convincing illusion of power.
But wait a minute, why would we find these seemingly terrible traits so alluring? It seems totally counterintuitive, right? Well, the book suggests an answer from evolutionary psychology. The idea is that these behaviors can send out false signals of strength, confidence, and power. They create this image of a person who isn't afraid of risk and who knows how to get what they want. And on a deep, primal level, that can be incredibly attractive, even if it's all just smoke and mirrors.
So now that we understand the psychological engine driving all this, let's look at how it actually shows up in the real world. The author lays out 9 distinct types or archetypes of seducers. Think of them as 9 different masks, each with its own unique style of influence.
And just look at the variety here. We're not going to go through all of them, but you've got types like the rake, who represents danger and forbidden pleasure. Then, on the complete opposite end, you have the ideal lover, who basically becomes a mirror for a person's deepest fantasies. And then there's the coquette, who's a total master of the push and pull, always keeping their target just a little bit off balance. Each one targets a different unspoken human desire.
Let's just zoom in on one of these to see how it works. Take the charmer. Their superpower, as the book puts it, is their incredible ability to deflect attention away from themselves. They turn the spotlight entirely on their target, making that person feel seen, heard, and understood. They create this warm, pleasant glow of validation, and who can resist that?
Okay, so we've looked at the psychology,
and we've met the players. For our final section, let's lay out the process itself. The book actually boils it all down to a pretty simple 3-step model that shows exactly how this game of influence is played from start to finish.
This is basically the roadmap. It always starts with step 1, attraction. This is about creating that initial spark, that bit of mystery that makes someone curious. Then it moves to step 2, building comfort and trust. This is where a deep emotional connection is forged. And that connection is what makes the final step, seduction, even possible. That's when logic gets pushed aside and the target is gently guided to make a decision based entirely on their feelings. So why does any of this matter? What's the big takeaway here? Look, understanding this framework isn't about learning how to go out and manipulate people. Not at all. The real power is in defense. It's about being able to recognize when these tactics are being used on you, whether it's by a brand trying to sell you something, a politician trying to win your vote, or even someone in your personal life. It's about developing psychological literacy.
And that's the thought I want to leave you with. Now that you've seen the playbook, you can start to look at the world with a new set of eyes. So take a sec and think, who or what is playing this game around you right now? Because once you know what to look for, you'll start seeing the patterns absolutely everywhere.